Well, getting into the gig economy, the side hustle, and the apps associated in the side hustle, I often get asked if I have any horror stories. Well, I worked as a lime juicer for a couple of months. Let's go over some juicing horror stories. So, number one, you may need to get comfortable going in less desirable areas. When I was juicing, and not all the times, but sometimes, these scooters were down alleyways, they were behind buildings, they were in large municipal parks. And remember, this is after 9 p.m. when the majority of these scooters become available for harvesting. So you're out there at night, you're kind of negotiating in these back alleyways looking for a scooter. Now there is a ring option that lets that scooter ring to let you find it, but you don't always hear it or it's not even available. Makes it pretty frustrating. You can kind of almost feel the eyes looking at you from the backs of the apartment complexes or the houses as this random car or your vehicle is going down these alleyways, let's say later at night, looking for a scooter. They really don't know why you're there, and sometimes you may find other people in the alleyways as well. Who knows? Speaking of odd areas to find a scooter in, I know one time I was on some side road somewhere and I got out of my vehicle parked on the side of the road and I couldn't find where the scooter is. Turned out it was over the guardrail down basically a gorge or a small little canyon as I rang the bell for the scooter, and I could see it basically 50 feet down this canyon. Hey, in those circumstances, definitely don't get it. It's not safe to go get it. It's not even worth it for $4 to go get that scooter. I remember other times when I was juicing in a park here in San Diego, and I was navigating through the park and I found one that was kind of up on a hill a little bit. Now that one I did park off on the side of the road. It was only about 10 feet up this small hill, but you can see that people kind of leave these everywhere because they kind of dump them everywhere sometimes. Continuing that point of really finding these anywhere and everywhere is another time, again, this is after 9 p.m. at night, is I went into a small skate park. And there were some kids, some teenagers hanging out in this skate park, and it wasn't too late, but I was just randomly going through the skate park, kind of like, excuse me, and there wasn't too many people, but you can imagine how you're going into this unknown scenario. It's like, hey, I'm just here for a scooter. So there are some awkward scenarios, or maybe scenarios you're not used to when you're trying to find a scooter. In yet another example, there was a time where I found a scooter that was parked or showing parked in the app at a gas station. And I get to the gas station, I park, it was away from the pumps based on where the pin was showing on the app, where the scooter was available. And I got out, I parked my car at this gas station, and I ring for the scooter, and I can hear it. It's beeping, to my right, even further away from the pumps at the gas station. So I go over to where the sound's coming from, and it's coming from a bush. And again, this is at night. I'm looking in the bush, I'm trying to find the scooter, and I see it. It's literally wedged deep inside of this bush. So I go around the back end of this bush, and I'm trying to pull it out. It's really kind of almost woven in there, almost intentionally. Well, turns out it was intentionally woven in that bush because it was a homeless person's scooter. And they actually set up their camp beneath the fence. So there was a fence there at the gas station, and they were down below it in kind of like the next plot over of land. And they were down in between this machinery, maybe air conditioning units. And I heard a voice coming from the tent that says, hey, you better not be taking my scooter. And I was kind of completely, I was like, whoa, there's someone down there. He's like, you better not take my scooter. And again, it's just being nice and polite. I said, oh, I'm sorry, didn't realize that was your scooter. I want to let you know it's low on power. That's why I'm coming to get it. I'm coming to charge it. It's low on power. I can leave it here if you'd like. And again, not coming from out of the tent. It's just this voice coming out of the tent. They say, yeah, leave it. So I just left it. I lost out on that money for charging that scooter and left that lime scooter kind of woven in that bush. Going back to the example of municipal parks, right? Your city parks, what have you, that's one location that I've seen the least amount of success. That the juicing app has shown me a scooter available somewhere within that park, and that pin is usually pretty accurate in it not being there, right? Now I know Lime's continually trying to improve that, but I found that if I see a scooter in a park or in the middle of a park, typically I won't go for it Firstly, that it can be hard to locate. And secondly, you may have a higher risk of having a homeless person kind of taking that scooter for them and just having it next to their encampment. Now, I have gone into some smaller like playground parks, right, kind of in the middle of the neighborhood. And I got to tell you guys, it's doing this juicing thing. You're going to go into these odd areas and you feel pretty odd yourself. Remember, this is at night. You're just a random person that gets out of a vehicle and you're looking for this scooter. No one really knows what you're doing. Now, I think eventually people kind of know because they see people out and about looking at their phones and loading scooters into their vehicle. But months ago, when this was pretty new to San Diego, it feels kind of weird. And again, you may feel eyes looking at you. You can kind of feel like, all right, this is kind of weird. I'm in the middle of a park or a playground and there's the apartments or houses next near me, right? But there may be also, again, the teenagers, kids hanging out in the park, which kind of makes it a little bit more awkward. Now, sometimes I have run into other juicers doing that and kind of think, oh, okay, hey, you're here for the scooter. So it can be a little odd, a little strange or a little odd if you're going out in these parks. So one big thing that I've suggested to Lime that needs improved is if you're going to be out there juicing, harvesting these scooters, is the scenario where you go to a scooter that you're going to harvest and gather and someone else beats you, another juicer beats you by minutes or seconds. I've had plenty of scenarios where someone harvested that scooter and it disappears from the app minutes before I get there. But I've also had an equal amount, or if not more, scenarios where I've seen that juicer really seconds before me arriving to that scooter, loading it into their vehicle or the van. And in one scenario, I had a juicer see me getting out of my vehicle, and she was crossing an intersection, a crosswalk to get to the scooter that I had parked on the right side of the road, and it was literally right to my left on the other side of the curb. And she's in front of me, she's crossing the crosswalk, and she sees me getting out of my vehicle, and she starts running across the crosswalk to get to this scooter. Now, she beat me to it because I had just parked and I started opening my door. And she saw me, and I think she saw maybe some scooters in the back of my car. It was a hatchback at the time, so you could see in there. And it's frustrating, guys. It's frustrating. I've mentioned to Lime that ideally, I would like to see a reservation system where you can reserve that scooter that you intend on harvesting. But I gotta tell you, if you're out there, that's basically a horror story for me because I've driven there. Maybe the last scooter that I was trying to get, maybe that one was grabbed early as well. So there's been nights where I've just turned in early. I said, forget it, right? 2 people beat me to scooters or 3 people beat me to scooters, and it's frustrating. It's time, it's miles. I say, forget it, I'm just going home. So keep that in mind. That's definitely an improvement that I would love to see come to the Lime Juicer app. So those are a few stories, I guess horror stories in some circumstances, of juicing Lime scooters. And let me know your questions down below in the comments, or if you have your own juicing horror stories, feel free to post those down below.